Hi, Hans. We're here to interview you because we know you're running for school board in Sherwood, and you have some other people running against you. So we'd like to kind of ask you some questions, get to know you a little more. First of all, what's your background? What have you done? Where your education?
Sure, and thank you all for this opportunity to speak. I'm really looking forward to it. Yeah, I am a Sherwood resident for the last 15 years, and I am married here with my wife, and we have a seventh and a ninth grade daughter in the schools here at Sherwood, middle school and high school. Um, I've lived in Oregon since '83. I am an orthopedic surgeon, worked at St. Vincent's Hospital in the orthopedic and fracture specialist group for almost 37 years. And currently I'm working part-time for Providence Medical Group as think of it as a substitute orthopedist about 5 days a month. So I've been involved with the schools for quite some time, since our girls were in preschool, and thought this was a perfect time to step up a bit more. I have time. I've been involved and pursued a seat on the school board.
So what's your background with education, and why the big interest in education?
Okay. Well, orthopedics is orthopedics. It's surgery. And of course, you spend a lot of time in school, as we all know. So school in Ohio, undergrad, medical school, residency at Case Western Reserve, time in the military doing servitude for a scholarship that they gave me, which was very much fun. And then a job here in 1983 in Portland. So all along, I have been involved in teaching in some shape, way, or form, and mostly during my professional career with higher level nurses, physician assistants, nurse practitioners, residents, involved with OHSU and working with them in training programs. So that's that secondary education or higher level. But then always had an interest in primary education as well. Just how do people arrive here and how are they developed? So I've always been interested in that. In fact, at age 50, I went back to Portland State to get a teaching certificate. Believe it or not. I didn't finish it because you had to take a year off almost from a practice. But I went through all the classroom and all the practicum at the lower levels. It was enlightening to see how education had changed. So I always had an interest.
Okay, so given your background with higher education, your background with medicine, now you're interested in running for school board in Sherwood, which is K through 12. So your high regard for education, the importance you see in it, the respect you have for it really comes through. Are you going to use your experience to improve education for K through 12?
So let me be clear. I am not a K through 12 educator. I have no agenda there to promote anything, but I am concerned for the burden the teachers have, the expectations that is put upon them, and the trials and tribulations they go through every day. And in working in the schools or volunteering in the schools, and particularly elementary school, are the most amenable to this. I and my wife, we probably were at Archer Glen Elementary 3 to 4 days a week. We would tutor students. We would work on art projects. We were just present in that environment and really well known and built relationships with the teachers, the administrators, et cetera. And we watched the girls and their classmates grow into middle school and high school. And so in watching how they proceeded and some of the demands on the school district from other outside sources, I just really became interested in trying to support the teachers, their welfare, the students' welfare, doing the best we could do with what we have, promoting education as success to these students. And a lot of attention early on, before it was popularized, was some of the social emotional things we were seeing and behavioral problems prior to COVID. And Shandy and I were very involved with developing some green rooms, some quiet time spaces, et cetera, at the elementary school. So
You wanna
we
go
were
back-
just there doing
What-
things.
I want to go back to COVID for a minute. I'm sorry, because that COVID was a big turning point in the schools. That's when we started seeing a lot of the backlash, not just about masks, about vaccinations, a lot of backlash against teaching, a lot of things, banning books. What do you think was what factor kicked that in about 2020 when all of a sudden COVID hit? What made that big switch?
I don't think that's unique to education in the education system. What I saw in healthcare was the same dynamic of the way it affected younger people, students, as well as adults. It just amped up our anxieties, brought up a lot of our fears. They became very apparent, and this uncertainty and these changes that we had to do to get through that period of time. And so in a way, it accelerated, I might say, some of our more non-characteristic behaviors, brought them forward. But on the other hand, we had some very big pluses in exploring different ways to do things. Now, everything takes time to evaluate, but it wasn't all negative. But it really accelerated people's level of anxiety or worry, and they expressed it in a variety of ways. You mentioned some of them.
So I want to go back to, now that we're in this post-COVID atmosphere, we're still seeing all the reactions, we're seeing the pushback. Given this environment, if you're elected, what are your priorities going to be when you start?
Sure, that's a great question. And I think we're on track in Sherwood. I'm very happy with Dr. Jeremy Lyon, our new superintendent. This man is the real deal. He's a leader. He knows how to do this. He's been around. He's done it before. He's jumping into a hotbed right now, but he can do it. And he has people around him on his administrative team that also can do it. So the board just needs to understand that we do have to take the necessary steps with the necessary purview and the necessary questioning and listening to move forward as a group and come together as a group and listen to our community. Very strong listening to our community. What are they expecting? How can we meet it as best as possible? We're never going to be perfect, but we need to come together and try to move forward to develop a success pattern.
Given that
for everyone.
background that you're going to be walking into that you just spoke about, what are the challenges that you're going to face?
I think we've got the ship going the right way, so to speak. And the folks that are there are willing and able and do understand how to work cooperatively, how to build a team, how to speak with one voice and agree to speak that way, how to be civil, how to be respectful. And at times, that's tough to do when questions are coming at you so quickly from the community or demands are being stated. And you just have to listen and filter things the right way and take your time to get an answer back to those folks. And we're working very hard. I've seen the board work very hard to respect those questions and do the best they can to filter the question to the right place, to the right resources, and then get back to the community and be very transparent about it.
So I know that Sherwood, like a number of districts, and we heard a lot about some of the other districts like Newburgh that really there was so much backlash, and all of the districts have it. We all have candidates running on different ends of the polarities. How do you plan to I don't think you're going to end the polarization, but how do you plan to address it?
Right, because I think you're right. There's an underlying current of, in everyone, underlying current of perhaps suspicion. And I think we just all, for myself, I have to say, listen, this is nonpartisan. This is a position that should be nonpartisan. It should have nothing to do with politics. I will listen to that concern with a different hat on. But when it comes down to the business of the board and what we're responsible for, we are going to keep it clean and do this on a nonpartisan basis. And I've said that many times, and I hope that is true of everybody else on the board.
I'm going to ask like a little kind of a follow-up question. That was my last question, but I'm going to do a small follow-up. You may or may not get pushback from some of the board members for some of the things that you feel are really good priorities. How do you come to, I don't know, consensus, or how do you come to some common ground and with your focus on what's best for the students?
Well, you bet. The focus is on the students. How do the students succeed? How do the teachers succeed? And the staff that supports the students. So that's, I believe, what is the focus. Now, I guess I'm a little bit older. I've been on boards, and I know how contentious they can be in the back room. We won't always agree. We'll have different opinions. We'll have to categorize and prioritize those positions, but we hash it out in the back room. And when we come to the meeting, we have agreed to agree. And a consensus has already been arranged. And we come as a team, a unified team. And I think that will help our community understand how we present ourselves, how we represent the community concerns, and collectively move forward for the success and the benefit of the students. So that, I think, for me at least, I've experienced that in other boards that I've been on.
Okay, well, I want to thank you for taking time to do this. I'm sure that it's going to help. I think we should be hearing from all of our candidates like this, because we do have a pretty intense race coming up. And anything, 1 or 2 sentences you want to say to everyone, why should they vote for you in 2 sentences?
Sure. I think that from world experience, other positions that I've held, other leadership roles that I've had, I do believe that I have something to offer and can work well with this team to have our students, have our teachers, have our school system and community benefit. And that's my goal. Well,
thank you very much, and good luck in the election. And thank you for taking time to do this.
Thank you so much for having me. This has been great. Really appreciate it. Thank you very much.